Okay, good day everyone. This is Group 7. The first reporter will be yours truly, Ganli Lagrosa, followed by Miss Christine Jean Manela. Next, we have Miss Jacqueline Hala. And lastly, we have Miss Catherine Alangilan. Alright, welcome to Lesson 2. Our topic is all about engaging in a community of learning or the COL. So I think we are all familiar naman 'di ba sa learning community. Di na ni bago para sa tua. So, what is a learning community for you? A learning community is a group of people who share common interests in a topic or area. So I have a quote here. We work together and inspire one another to create, develop, and share knowledge. So again, what is a learning community? A learning community is a group of students with shared learning goals who collaborate and connect with one another. In a community of learners, interactions are both practical and emotional. Learners share knowledge and resources as well as support with emphasis on open, cohesive communication. So in a learning community students and teachers support one another and are open with one another during discussion about feelings and opinions related to various ethical issues, situations, and challenges. And also in a learning community, students must be willing to confront or compare different opinions, responses, insight, and experiences. So, dapat daw sa learning community, kita estudyante is mo confront ta kung naatay gilibugan. Kay, para masakto ang ato ang mga nalibog. So, we must confront or compare different opinions, responses, insight, and experiences. So I have a question here. Can schools be a learning community? Yes, of course. So we have here schools as a learning communities. So when people come together and work toward a common goal, a community is formed. In schools, that goal is learning. It seems almost right to label schools as learning communities. Of course, schools bring groups of diverse people together with a common goal of student learning. The schools reflect the inherent characteristic of community. So, sa school, di ba, ang goal man jud nato is makahibaw, di ba? So, kitang tanan sa schools nga to ang goal is learning. That is why natay gitawag nga community. So, schools as a learning communities. Because we have a common goal which is ang makalearn ta. So, we have here the learning community is grounded in the following fundamental beliefs. First, all students are equally important in the classroom. So, from the word equal, yes, of course, kitang estudyante, equal rigid ta sa ato ang class. Equally important in the classroom. So, a student's value is not based on his or her age or stage of development. The learning community respects a different but equal approach by ensuring that all students have an equal voice in discussion and decision making. So, ania is equally. So, next, each student has unique qualities that enrich the classroom. The learning community celebrates and affirms each individual's strengths and accommodates differences and diversity. So, syempre kita mga estudyante is naaman jud tay unique qualities. Lain-lain nga quality, diba? Lain-lain tawag strengths and weaknesses. Like for example, ako kaya nahonin din siya dili. Siya kaya niya to, din ako dili. Yes, we have different unique qualities. And lastly, we have all students play a role in each other's learning. The learning community fosters interdependence and share responsibility rather than reinforcing the notion that all responsibility rests with the teacher. So, kita daw pong estudyante is naatay rule towards sa learning sa uban. Like for example, ako kahibaw ko ani, since kahibaw man ko ani, i-share na ho ni sa dili kahibaw. Din anak nga way nakahatag na taog learning sa uban, dili kay ang teacher ang maghatag og learnings. So, and we have here a learning community can be first, a group with shared goals, motivation, and values, of course. Diba? Second, a place to share ideas, problems, and questions. Third, a space for discussion. Fourth, a collaborative environment. Fifth, a source of inspiration. And lastly, a network of fellow students and experts. So, kung naatay a learning community can be, of course, naabotay a learning community is not. Gisant. First, a school or professional committee. Second, just a social group. Syempre, di naman siya, di ba? Third, a jobs, board, or marketing platforms. Fourth, a substitute for formal teaching. So, mao ni ang dili. So, we have here the positive outcomes of student participation in learning communities such as, so according to Liechtenstein, learning communities ang positive niya nga outcome is higher retention rates, higher grade point average, lower risk of academic withdrawal, increased cognitive skills and abilities, improve ability. Kay, syempre, diba, once nga kita estudyante is ma-collaborate sa uban is mas ma-motivate, diba? So, kani is mag-gain ni nato once naa ang learning community. Also, we have here, according to Watkins 2005, pointed to a variety of positive outcomes from emphasizing the development of community in schools and classes, including higher student engagement, greater respect for diversity of all students, higher intrinsic motivation, and increased learning in the areas that are most important. And also we have here from Zhao and Co. 2004, found learning communities associated with enhanced academic performance, integration of academic and social experiences, gains in multiple areas of skill, competence and knowledge, and overall satisfaction with the college experiences. All by this is by the help of learning community because we are working together and sharing knowledge to each other. So, to continue the discussion, I am now giving the floor to Miss Christine Jean Manala.
Good day, everyone. I am the second reporter for the Group 7. Our topic is engaging in a community of learnings, or the COL. So, the first reporter discussed about what is community and what does community in school. So, I have here, my topic is all about the 4 learning communities. So, which are those? So, what are those? The first one is the interest-based learning community. The second one is the action-based learning community. The third one is the location-based learning community. And the last one is the profession-based learning community. So we have here the first learning community, which is interest-based learning community. So in here, the learners will come together and share their interest or passions. So whatever your interest, like sports or anything, you can find or create a learning community around. So for example, here is kanang taking your students to zoo to connect their biology with future patients. So ang mga bata is ganahan na sila og kanang how things actually work. So next one is the action-based learning community. So this form of learning community centered on activities that help to promote or further their cause. So ang mga example ani is kanang social activism groups that run lectures, create educational resources, and organize fundraising events. So like for the kuan na siya for kanang classroom activities like mga sa mga pangbata bitas like mga climbing learning ladders, may na warm-ups, body tracing, and graphing. So muna siya mga moral activities for kids. Next one is the location-based learning community. So kana mga community service, kana mo involve siya og volunteering with local community groups para to help improve the community. So this method that uses places really helps for the students increase their concentration and lead to more productive study. So for the last learning community, which is profession-based learning community. So kani siya is a common type of learning community. So why is it nga common ni siyang method? So because members shares advices, opinions, or just support one another. So for example ani kaning naa sa ato ang PPT is kanang like mga jazz musicians nga magkatapok-tapok, and then they share their work and provide critique and also feedback with their co-musician. Nga na siya. So there you have it. That would be all my report for the topic engaging in a community learning. The 4 learning community, which are interest-based learning community, action-based learning community, the location-based learning community, and the profession-based learning community. So the further discussion will be discussed by the next reporter. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I am the 3rd reporter. My name is Jacqueline Elhala. My topic that I'm going to discuss is about learning community. We have 4 defining characteristics of learning communities. So these are access, relationships, vision, and function. So I'm going to discuss the access and relationships. So I'm representing different ways of defining the boundaries of a community. So in access, who is present? So ready access to each other, a common meeting place, transactional distance, quality, and quantity time. So community defined by access. Access might have been at one point the easiest way to define a community. If people live close together, they were a community. If the children attended the same school or classroom, then they were a school or class community. Some researchers and teachers continue to believe that defining a community is that simple. Rovai summarized general descriptions of what it means to be a community from many different sources. Concluded that members of a learning community need to have ready access to each other. Rovai, he argued that access can be attained without physical presence in the same geographic space. Rovai previously wrote that learning communities need a common meeting place. but indicated that this could be a common virtual meeting place. At this common place, members of the community can hold both social and intellectual interactions, both of which are important for fostering community development. One reason why many virtual educational environments do not become full learning communities is that although the intellectual activity occurs in the learning management system, the social interactions may occur in different spaces and environments, so such as Twitter and Facebook, thus outside of the potential community. The negotiation among researchers about what it means to be accessible in a learning community, including whether these boundaries of access are virtual or physical, is still ongoing. Many researchers are adjusting traditional concepts of community boundaries are being physical in order to accommodate modern virtual communities. However, many scholars and practitioners still continue to discuss communities as being bounded by geographic locations and spaces, such as community college math classrooms, pre-service teachers' professional experiences, and music educator PhD cohorts. More important is the question of how significant physical or virtual access truly is. The researchers agree that community members should have access to each other, but the amount of access and the nature of presence needed to qualify as a community are still undefined. So next is relationships. In relationships, who feels connected and accepted? So it belongs here. Sense belonging, interdependence, trust, faith in purpose of community. So, community defined by relationships. Being engaged in a learning community often requires more than being present, either physically or virtually. Often researchers define learning communities by their relational or community boundaries, the emotional ties that bind and unify members of the community. Frequently, a learning community is identified by how close or connected the members feel to each other emotionally and whether they feel they can trust, depend on, share knowledge with, rely on, have fun with, and enjoy high quality relationships with each other. In this way, affect is an important aspect of determining a learning community. Often, administrators or policymakers attempt to force the information of a community by having the members associate with each other. But the sense of community is not discernible. If the members do not build the necessary relational ties in virtual communities, students may feel present and feel that others are likewise discernibly involved in the community, but still perceive a lack of emotional trust or connection. In our review of the literature, we found what seemed to be common relational characteristics of learning communities. First is sense of belonging. So, sense of belonging, members of a community need to feel that they belong in the community, which includes feeling like one is similar enough or somehow shares a connection to the others. Second is interdependence. Sorason, 1974, believe that belonging to a community could be best be described as being part of a mutually supportive network of relationships upon which one could depend. In other words, the members of the community need each other and feel needed by others within the community. Third is trust among others. Some researchers have listed trust as a major characteristic of learning communities. So, it focuses on online learning communities is one example of how trust is instrumental to the emotional strength of the learning group. Research has established that trust is among the key enablers for knowledge sharing in online communities. And the last one is faith or trust in the shared purpose of the community. So part of belonging to a community is believing in the community as a whole, that the community should exist and will be sufficient to meet the members' individual needs. Macmillan and Chavez felt that it was important that there be a shared faith that members' needs will be met through their commitment to be together. Rovai agreed by saying that members possess a shared faith that their educational needs will be met through their commitment to the shared goals and values of the students at school. These emotional boundaries not only defined face-to-face learning communities, but they have defined virtual communities as well, perhaps more so because virtual communities do not have face-to-face interaction. The emotional bond that members feel with the persons beyond the computer screen may be even more important. And the emergence of video technologies is one method for increasing these bonds. So that's the end of my topic. So for the continuation of community by vision and function, Miss Catherine Alangilan will be discussed. Thank you.
So, good morning everyone. I'm Catherine Arnes Alangilan. So, in continuation of Jacqueline's Halas report, so my report is about community defined by vision. So, communities defined by shared vision or a sense of purpose are not as frequently discussed as boundaries based on relationship, but ways members of community think about their group are important. So, community defined by vision. So, if mo yung tag vision, di ba naaman dyan ay vision, mission, antong kuan, nagali ang school, ang community pa kaha. So, ang vision is kanang ilang, ang community based by, defined by vision is, ang community, mukuan mo share jud silang vision. Like, maghimo silang mga vision nga mauna ang dapat mabtan sa community, mauna ang dapat ikayo sa community, mauna himuon nila nga vision. Nga, ug asa sila belong, nga pwede sila makashare sa ilang kanang trust, independence, nga makaingon jud sila nga community demi mo nang community defined by vision, kaya makaingon sila nga community juday mi kay tinabangay mi naa juday mi vision mo na siya. Then last, community defined by function. So perhaps the most basic way to define the boundaries of a learning community is by what the members do. So from the word function, so unsa man jud ang function sa community. So ang function sa community, di ba? Iasa man ang community if walay function, mag-community or kintahay isar mo ka group of people living together pero wala ra, dili mo magtaga, wala mo buhat, wala mo pakialam sa inyong community, so dili na siya mo matawag as function. So matawag sa function if naamoy gipang buhat niya ikaayo sa inyong community ug unsa gipang buhat sa mga members, so diha sa community mo na siya community defined by function. And that's all. Thank you.